Plants have feelings. If people really believe that plants have feelings, how come we don't have a single group out there that protests against lawn mowing? How come when the Australian bushfires occurred, we didn't hear anything about the plants burning to death? We only heard about the wildlife, and when they said wildlife, they were talking about animals every single time.
Finally, let's talk about the plants and whether they suffer. Because the latest idiocy and lunacy being tossed my way the last couple of years has been, hey man, carrots suffer and die just like cows do, so what's the difference?
If you look at it that way, plants have lives as well. They're breathing, they're something that has a life as well. You eat them as well, don't you? If you go cut a tree, sap's gonna pour out of there, it's gonna be late.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm not saying that.
Plants don't have a brain and they don't have a central nervous system.
How do you know
so
that?
I think that's a fact.
If you ever look, there's some plants that eat other flies and stuff.
Plants don't have a brain or a central nervous system. That's a scientific fact. If you're going to refute that, then I guess we can't discuss this.
Vegans eat plants. Aren't plants alive?
So, do you think that cutting a carrot is the same thing as throwing pigs into gas chambers?
I mean, it could be. Exactly. You don't know if carrots talk to each other. Exactly.
Okay, in case you were unaware of this difference, you have to have a functioning central nervous system connected to a brain in order to suffer. And this is not up for debate. Which is why people in the hospital who are brain dead, but still alive, but can't feel anything are called vegetables. How about that? A little truth and science for a change. Yeah, we don't call these people fish. We don't call them chickens and turkeys and cows and pigs. We call them vegetables.
This is also something I've said in the past if I was outreaching someone and I'm like, so while you're walking on the street, do you like try to avoid stepping on grass? Because you would do that if there was a dog standing there or a cat or any animal.
And if plants really can't suffer, how come firefighters never rescue them? And don't say it's discriminatory. Because animals are the most discriminated species on this planet. But there's still a plan in place to save them during a fire. Humans get saved first, but if it's safe to do so, even if it's unsafe to do so, they'll go back inside and save the animals. But even if it were safe to do so again, no firefighter in the history of the world has ever gone back in a third time to save the chrysanthemums. Hey Bob, quick, you save the basil plant from the kitchen, I'll get the rhododendron from the second floor. If I came in here, by the way, and talked about the broccoli holocaust, how long would I be allowed to speak? 5 seconds? 8 seconds? It's a really ridiculous argument. Do you think that if I gave lectures about cruelty to vegetables, especially root vegetables like yams, called my speech the silence of the yams, that I would have been invited into 180 schools to give 2,600 lectures to 60,000 students in 30 different states.
People don't believe this from any kind of scientific position. They're just arguing this to deflect from the actual conversation that you need to have from them, that they know that they can't justify, which is the animal abuse. So you don't need scientific information. How would you like it if someone stabbed you to death and then said, well, plants have feelings too, so it's justified?
Plants are living animals too, organisms.
Do you think
How
that?
do you think the plants feel?
Do you think that?
How do you feel? Do you think the plants feel?
The plants don't feel pain?
How do you know?
Because if you mow your lawn and then you go up and
you're
stab.
killing your lawn. What do you mean it doesn't feel anything?
So if there was somebody who murdered someone and then there was someone who mowed their lawn, is that the two equivalent actions?
It's a living organism. It's breathing. It's living. It's taking nutrients from the soil, just like the pigs and the animals are taking nutrients from what we feed them.
Even people like Joe Rogan, who's a fucking avid hunter and loves to justify not being vegan at every opportunity he gets, even he said he supported the wildlife in Australia, and he was referring to the koalas and the other animals. People around the world have only shown empathy or sympathy towards the animals that were suffering in the wildfires, right?
And I was just thinking about this the other day, but what do we say about fruits and vegetables when they get old? They're ripe, ready to eat, or rot. And what do we say about animals when they get old? They're old. Because animals are alive in the exact same way that we are. And plants are food. So can we please stop making up idiotic excuses to torture and kill the animals? And make up an excuse to care about them instead? To become vegan, to actually live by the golden rule, instead of just paying lip service to it. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you.